Hey, what's up? That was Split System with Force Field. That song came out on Friday. I've listened to it like 10 times so far. Okay. What's up? Hey, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Hate 70 podcast, the show that brings you music, laughs, and an infinite platter of unsolicited advice, free of charge. I'm your host, Gary Finn. Today we have an incredible guest, but before I introduce him, I have a few announcements to make. Next week on the pod, we'll have Adam Hustler. We'll have him on the podcast. He is in a Miami hardcore band called Powerplay. They will be touring with their mates, Spit Truth, starting at the end of the month and making their way up to Jonesboro by July 1st, where I'm the Catalyst and Death's Fog will be gracing the stage with them. There's also an incredible music event going on at Croy's Ridge on June 15th from 4 to 10. Has some of our friends, REC and The Storyline, on that show with several others. That's out at Croy's Ridge State Park. There are some upcoming shows. As far as I'm the Catalyst, we have one July 1st. And there's the Great Mayhem Metal Fest on July 20th in Jonesboro. I think $20 if you buy the tickets online, and $30 at the door. That's from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. Lots and lots of bands. So show up for that. And July 21st, we also have a show. Thank you to Grandma Chandelier for always selflessly promoting the local bands as they've been doing this week. Great guys. We look to have them on the podcast very, very soon. But today we'll be taking a deep dive into the origin story of an amazing local band in the past that ventured far beyond the 870, and we're stoked to kind of dig into that band and also dig into the underground scene during that time and memorializing our recent trip to Little Rock, where we get to see Drain and End It. I don't know. So with that being said, please welcome my longtime friend, incredible musician, father, and person, Darrell Sykes.
What up? Glad to be here, man.
Buddy, what's up, dude?
No, not a whole lot. I've been following the pod since you started it.
What did you think? Like, I literally felt like I was watching from the balcony at the Rev Room.
Oh, at the show.
At the hardcore show. I literally felt like I was like not only visually seeing, like watching the last, 25, 30 years.
Yeah, it was cool. It's like it hasn't ever really gone away,
No.
Like we stepped away from it, or I did for a while, and every time I go back to a show, it's like, oh, this is still going on. Like, it's just a new generation of kids that are doing it. And the perspective was super cool at that show because you get to actually see the pit. Like, you can get in the pit, do your thing, whatever, but you get the full experience. It's almost like it's like watching like a video, but you get to experience it live,
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I was taken back to, and I think that's the first time I've seen a pit like, when I grew up in Syracuse, we used to go to shows, and the pit there was at a club called the Lost Horizon, and that was literally how it was. It was like, there's like, we're standing on like, I don't know, I guess it'd be level 1, I kind of put it, then it kind of steps down into the pit, and then there's a stage. So you're kind of watching, you're kind of eye to eye pretty much with like those who are on stage,
Yeah.
So I was like, this is wonderful.
Yeah, it was cool. I haven't seen a hardcore. Well, maybe I have. I don't remember seeing a hardcore show there, but I've been there for like Valiant Thor and some other bands, that didn't have a pit really. It was just like we're watching this band play and you kind of pushing each other around. But to see a full-fledged like hardcore bill, pretty great. Especially being an older dude. Like I want the option to not be in the pit if I don't want to be in the pit.
And they
give it to you there.
I like that part.
Yeah.
I like that part because, there's a lot of times I think when Dead Heat started in, I was like, man, I really want to step down in there and kind of.
Yeah.
I was like, I was gonna watch from up here, man.
Yeah.
I can't do it. My feet were wanted to move, and I wanted to, dance and get closer. But I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm staying.
Probably
back.
for the best.
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
Hey, did you get down in there?
I did for like a song or two of terror, when they opened up. And it's only because I saw Blaine pull Trent down there, and I was like, I got to see this. I've never seen Trent in the pit ever. So
I didn't know he went down there.
He went down there, and then when I was standing by Nanny, and he went down there with me for a little bit, and it was rough, dude. It was a rough pit. There's some legitimate professional wrestlers there. Those two big dudes. I don't know their names, but like one of them is a legit not a professional wrestler.
The dude with the fanny pack around his chest?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Some big dudes.
I'm glad I didn't go.
I think Trent said that he got his foot stomped or something. He's been limping around all week.
Oh, no.
Poor dude. Yeah. I didn't suffer any injuries, though, luckily.
There's some, like, I don't know how else to put it, but there were some skinny young kids in there that was like, yo.
Yeah. They were throwing down.
They were throwing down. I was like, I didn't even want to be anywhere near.
The amount of stage diving was impressive.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
There was a girl that jumped off the railing of the second level that we were standing on into the crowd during Drain, and it was bananas. Of course, homeboy when he got on the mic, he was like, for the next 30 minutes there are no rules.
None.
He's like jump off of everything, and all that. And they did. They followed suit.
They have I've seen I've been following them on Instagram. There's a thing they have behind, Drain has behind them as they're playing. It says Drain is not responsible for what you do for the next 30 minutes.
Isn't that what the sticker? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or whenever you slap this sticker on, that's what their sticker says.
Yeah, exactly. So, when I saw Drain at Furnace Fest, and it was like, I was like, this is gonna be good. It's just bonkers. I could not imagine it. Well, now I got to see what it'd be like, kind of what it would look like in a small venue.
Yeah.
Oh, it's everything I expected it to be.
Just good, really good energy all around there.
That's what I was kind of reflecting on it. I thought it was real overtly positive.
Yeah.
Overtly positive. I was like 100%.
Yeah, he's screaming out, start a band.
Yeah.
Do it now, and all that. Just everybody on that bill slayed. I mean, it was one of the best shows that I've seen in a long time.
A great lineup. I mean, they couldn't have done better as far as who they got on there. Endit has been the one for me for a long time, and they definitely delivered. And he definitely, as a front guy, definitely delivered.
Built for it.
Yeah. Built for it. And he can sing.
Yeah.
He opened up with some reggae song or something. I didn't know what it was.
Oh, no, that was Summertime by Sublime.
Oh, was it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, see, I totally missed it.
Yeah.
And you're always good at that. You're always
line.
super good at that. Far as I'm not a lyric guy. I cannot catch
Yeah, I mean, to a fault, I'm a lyric guy. It'll ruin some stuff for me.
But I was like, pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I was kind of I want to dig into some of the let me pull up my notes and stuff, because I can't stay on track, and I get all focused. But I do want to kind of dive not only into what kind of I do want to dig into. We're gonna dig into the last farewell today. I want to kind of dig into kind of how it began, because I was me and you. That's not conversations that we really had, as far as kind of I was there at the Drip when you guys played. I don't know how many shows in you guys were by that time.
Were we playing as a 5-piece at the Drip?
4, I thought.
So
you were playing guitar and singing, I thought.
I know I did at is it the Collins Theater that's here?
I forgot you did that.
We played as a 4-piece at the Collins.
Oh, okay.
But I think Blake was in the band by the time we played the Drip.
Okay.
Because we played with Amok.
Yep.
And there probably was another band on there too. But there's video footage of that show.
Okay.
And it's in that Hand Over Fist music video that Blake did. And I don't have a guitar on.
Oh, okay. Was there one show where
might have been a second show that we played that I didn't play guitar, but
okay. How many times did you play the Drip?
I only remember playing there once.
Once?
Yeah. But It seems like the night we played Collins, we played somewhere else, and it might have been the Drip. So that may be the show that you saw me playing guitar at.
Okay, so the four would have been you, Blake, Derek.
The four would have been me, Derek, Nathan, and Joel. Blake came in.
Nathan was first.
Yeah.
That's where I've messed up at then.
Yeah. So, and yeah, that Last Farewell was like the end result of a number of lineup changes, style changes, name changes, all of that stuff. And it was always me, Nathan, and Derek.
Okay.
And then originally, it's when I was working at Burgess Music.
Sure.
Okay, like 98,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
We had like a pop punk kind of thing going on where Derek played drums,
Okay.
Nathan played bass, Brent Burgess played guitar, and I played guitar and sang.
Oh, wow.
And then when Brent moved, what'd we do? We got Joel. I called Joel because I was in a band with him in the
So you guys had history
Cersei.
before then? Like with
yeah,
Joel?
yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I met Joel in like 96, maybe 95, 96.
Yeah.
Because Blake and I played in a band in Cersei, and Joel was the drummer for that band.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when Brent moved, we got Joel to play drums, and Derek went to bass, which is his primary instrument.
Sure.
Anyway, Nathan moved to guitar, and then I kept playing guitar and singing. We called it Springdale, and we did like a little recording. Clint Hutchison helped us do like a home recording of a handful of songs. We shot a music video for one of them, and
Did you really?
played around a little bit.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know where the shift to Last Farewell really was. It had to be 2001.
Okay.
And Brent showed me so much music when he was around. Like, I didn't know about anything really.
Okay.
Like, he was really tuned into like that solid state
Oh, yeah.
roster of
Oh,
the
yeah.
time, you know? And so he was the first person. And what's funny is that I grew up in Tuckerman, right up the road from Little Rock.
Okay.
And he's the first person to show me Living Sacrifice. I
Oh,
didn't
wow.
know who that was. And Zayo, and Hope's Fall, and just
Wow.
all. And so Clint Hutchison, when he moved into town, he showed me Dillinger Escape Plan. He showed me Every Time I Die, Poison the Well.
Wow.
And it was just like, whoa, there's this whole other
Wow.
area of music. I was always like a pop punk dude. You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
always loved
Yeah.
punk rock and pop punk and listen to some metal here and there, but the idea of like having singing and screaming and like soft and loud and
Right.
all of that, kind of the Deftones dynamic is what I like to call it, because I think a lot of those bands pulled it from Deftones, honestly. But,
Oh, hey, I like that hot take.
yeah,
That's good.
I'm sure Poison the Well did. You know, they
Wow.
were. I'm not saying I'm going to go on record. I'm not saying they were robbing Deftones, but they went on record saying they're fans. You know.
Well, I never thought of that.
Yeah, like one of their guitarists on the Opposite of December promo stuff is wearing a White Pony shirt.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Because you got to think that they're pulling influences from somewhere, right?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Probably their local hardcore scene, and then but they had that melodic, almost emo-y kind of
Yeah.
singing and like more melodic guitar parts,
Right.
which was huge in the early 2000s. You know.
Yeah. Because I think about the opposite of you kind of think about the opposite of December, and you try to kind of like connect the dots of. I can find a lot of dots connected to that record or to because there's the EP, right?
Distance makes the heart grow fonder. Yeah.
And I just don't know, like listening to that and then listening to the opposite of December. There's a dichotomy there for sure. Like it's similar, but it's not opposite of December is just like one of those like,
You can kind of hear, especially after you listen to Opposite of December, you can kind of hear where they were going with the EP,
sure.
but they just hadn't realized it. They hadn't fully realized what
Yeah, okay.
their sound was,
That makes sense.
and they locked it down on that full length.
They do
And
it
then
every
Tear from the
song.
Red got even better. Then You Come Before You got even better. And it's just
Yeah.
like, and they changed stylistically over the years with like versions and You
They
know,
did.
they had they had like lineup changes, and they went a little thrashier on some EPs and records. And
Yep.
so they're an interesting band, dude,
Yeah, they
and still doing stuff.
and still doing stuff, and they didn't really, like you said, they didn't kind of stick to the opposite of December, which whenever a band does that, because like that's the thing. I think bands do kind of like musicians kind of grow and everything. So sometimes when people kind of go like they're anticipating the next record, or they're kind of like anticipating like the continuation of opposite of December.
Abe said something kind of cool on the way back. I think we were talking about Angel Dust.
Yeah,
And I love them, which I love. Like I said, punk rock music and anything new punk rock, I'm gonna give it a shot at least. And I think
sure.
they're killing it
Yeah,
with that sound.
I enjoyed them.
Yeah, but Justice originally was the vocalist in Trapped Under Ice.
Yep.
And I was like, man, it's wild, like knowing Trapped Under Ice, and then now he's doing this. It's completely different.
Yeah.
From that. And Abe said, well, like, you expect the band to like scream and do hardcore for like 20 years? I was like, well, not everybody, but like Trapped Under Ice was huge,
Oh yeah.
huge.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
you got dudes like Scott Vogel,
Yeah.
Terror. He's been doing that his whole life.
Yeah.
And he's still killing it.
He's still killing it.
Yeah.
Still killing it. So I guess I mean, that's true. That's true, and I think I definitely classify as a person, just to be honest, that I kind of expect like bands to kind of remain the same.
Yeah.
That
I do too.
and so I think that's where, and I got to tell myself like, Gary, they can't record at the same place and record.
Right. And
Every-
they're making music for themselves too. They're not just making music for you. So they're going to get bored.
They're going to get bored with
playing
all
the same
that.
stuff all the time. They want to try out new stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, I get that. So I mean,
Yeah.
from an outsider point of view.
So where were we?
Well, so yeah, that's me. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, but yeah, so
Last Farewell.
last farewell.
Anyway, these dudes, Clint and Brent, showed me all these bands I'd never heard of before, and my eyes were open again. I was like 22, maybe 21, 22,
Mhm.
and so I just started writing that kind of stuff. And then we played as a 4-piece. Originally, I wanted to call the band Forlorn, but nobody was on board with it. So
Okay,
the Last Farewell was just kind of
where'd that come from?
I just kind of pitched it out. So it was kind of like the Last Farewell being like the final change. Like, this is the last farewell. Like,
Okay,
this is where it ends. This is where the new begins.
awesome.
We said
Awesome.
we said goodbye to the stuff in the past. Now this is where we're at.
Okay,
And this is where we're staying.
okay.
Hopefully. And it got a little heavier. Well, Blake, like I said, I had history with Blake anyway, and he was playing in a band that like toured clubs nationally, like doing covers, and
Nice.
they had some original material too. But that ended, and then when I found out, I was like, "Hey, buddy, you want to come play guitar? Because
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to scream and play guitar for me anyway." And he's like, "Yeah, we'll try it on." So he and Joel both lived in Searcy,
Got
in the
ya.
Searcy area. Derek still lived in Poplar Bluff, Missouri.
Okay,
Nathan and I were here, and we'd all converge on Sunday
I got you.
at Burgess, and we'd practice like all day. I mean, like a 4 or 5 hour
Thing, yeah.
thing, and we'd write, we'd rehearse, we'd get the show together, whatever, and then played some shows locally. Did Powerhouse,
Yeah.
obviously. Played the Drip, did the Collins thing. We played out at West Side Schools for something. I don't know what.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I don't remember what that was for. That was as a 4-piece. But anyway, after we got Blake worked in and wrote some more songs, and I got more comfortable with being able to just move around, that's kind of where we figured out, or I at least figured out kind of what we were.
Okay,
But I didn't know it at the time. I knew that what we were doing was what I wanted to do, but I didn't realize that it was anything different. Like,
okay.
but yeah, we'll get back to that. And then you saw us at the Drip, and then we
Yeah.
had a meeting with you, and
Yeah,
you recorded an album for
Yeah.
us and
Yeah.
put it out.
I was racking my brain. I should have drug out a CD. I was tracking my brain trying to. Who was the guy who recorded it down? And where was?
Josh Newcomb.
Okay.
Josh Newcomb
Okay.
in
Yeah.
Heber Springs, and I think we did that in 2 days. I mean, at the most. Because we stayed overnight at Blake's house and went and played a show in Little Rock the next day at Michael's
Yeah,
place.
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I think it was down. I think it was down there for one day. I don't think I was there on day one. I think I was there on when he was mixing and mastering or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was a long day.
Yeah. I don't remember. I think we did all the music in one evening. Because he had rooms that were separated and isolated from each other, and then he had like CCTV to where you could see each other.
Wow.
And then you could obviously hear everybody playing. And I did a scratch vocal just for like timing.
Yeah.
I don't remember us playing to a Met either, which is pretty wild.
Whoa.
Because we had a few songs that had like polyrhythms,
Okay.
like very simple ones,
Okay.
or songs that would like accelerate and decelerate and go up and down in speed a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think we just kind of felt it out.
That's
which
great.
is really weird to think about now.
That's great.
But yeah, I think I did the vocals maybe a week later or something, and it was like all the vocals. It was like the screaming, the singing. It was like back to back. It was all in like a number of hours and
Man alive.
one evening, and it got to the point with some of that stuff where I was like, man, let's just let that be what it is. Like I cannot do that.
Let's let it stand
anymore. Yeah.
Well, the recording, I went back and listened to it Thursday?
Yeah.
Or Friday. I don't know what day it was. Wednesday night or I don't know. Anyway, I was like, I may have been Friday, but anyway, it was like a deal where I was listening to it, man. I still find the mix really good, and something I noticed, like I've always noticed it, but like something I really kind of paid attention to was like there's just this. That's what I wanted to ask you about. Like, seems like there's this. Of course, there's dynamics in there, and there's peaks and valleys and things like that. But there's this really perfect blend of like melody and chaos, and you do it different with like different songs. Like the Sting Won't Last Forever was like one, like you can hear it too. Like there's a perfect blend. It's like this, like I don't know. It's got like it's all melodic, it's all harmonious and everything. Then it kind of like then it kind of gets kind of dissonant.
Yeah.
And everything. Then it kind of and with like the what was the second to the last track on that?
No Knowledge is the last track.
What's the second? I wrote down like the second to the last one was I wrote it down here. A
Walk in Slumber.
Yeah, Walk in Slumber. Like there's this like immediate change. Like there's this immediate change halfway through that goes like from like melody and harmony, everything's blending. It's just right. Then it goes into this like where it's like super heavy. It makes you want to run through walls type of thing. And I didn't know if that was like the common thread. Did you like while you were writing? I know, was that like purposeful to kind of create like this? Everything is good, everything is nice, and then all of a sudden, like everything's off the rails, and it's right back on again, like with the harmonious type of thing. Because all the transitions are wonderful.
I don't think it was a conscious decision to do that. I think it probably just happened once.
Okay.
And then I felt something, and
Yeah.
then I figured, well, this could be. It's not really a theme either. It's
Okay.
I don't know. It's just more kind of me like writing from my gut. Like I like this, but this can't go on forever. Like, there has to be a break. And then maybe we can revisit it later. But based on the theme of the song's lyrics, that kind of dictated what kind of chords I was going to use and like how the dynamic was going to happen. So A Walk in Slumber was a memorial song for my uncle.
I gotcha.
And so talking about like his car crash,
I gotcha.
and that's the super heavy part,
I gotcha.
And then at the end, it's just me remembering him. So
I
it gets
gotcha.
real melodic and kind of pretty sounding.
Because it did like there's just like this wonderful like it's like the lyrics and the music ran parallel, or the mood ran parallel.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I love that, man. You don't really hear that a lot, and sometimes I think it's I was talking to Lonnie, I think back when he was, and just like not even on the pod, but just kind of like one to one, like it's like more than it's like you're not really jotting down lyrics like before, but like it's kind of like he always wants to hear the cadence of the drums or whatever, or hear what the song sounds like. So it's kind of like he kind of writes as kind of like according to the mood. You know what I'm saying? Or like he wants to make sure that the music and like the lyrics kind of coalesce together. You know what I'm saying? So, and I appreciate that. That's just like in smart, songwriting and whatever. So
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
Man, I appreciate you appreciating it.
Yeah.
We're so appreciative today.
When like did you start like playing music and singing, and like when did you discover like, hey, this is something I kind of like to do?
Man, so you sent me that draft, and I was like, man, I've never really thought about it.
Okay.
And when I try to think back to like when I was introduced to music or whatever, it literally was just always around.
Gotcha.
Like my mom played piano, so there was a piano in the house, and they had a
Nice.
record collection, and I was taking piano lessons when I was like 7. And
I didn't know you could play piano.
I can't now, but I could back then. I begrudgingly took piano lessons. I wanted to play guitar. I wanted to be like Motley Crue or whatever. Guns N' Roses. I didn't want to play piano.
Okay.
And ironically enough, one of the biggest songs Guns N' Roses has is a piano song.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I took those for like 2 or 3 years and memorized all of my pieces for the recitals. Did not sight read.
Okay.
I could read, but I couldn't like sight read.
Okay.
And then somewhere around 13 or so, I got a guitar and took a few lessons, and then didn't like the lessons because the dude wanted me to play like cowboy chords and like country songs, and I was like, no, man, I want to play punk rock songs. Can you show me these 4 chords? So I put the guitar down for a couple of years, and then around 15, I got kind of serious. Around 15, that's when I found out about like Green Day, and I was like, oh, I think I can do that.
Nice.
And so I started just learning power chords and like playing along to their stuff, and then found out about No Effects, and then later on found out about Newfound Glory, and I was just like, oh, well, this is kind of my stuff, like I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
So songwriting started kind of in the it's actually right after the grunge era.
Okay.
Songwriting kind of started, and I played bass originally in that band that I played with Joel and Blake in Cersei.
Okay.
Played bass and did vocals in that. And
so when did you know you could sing?
Very early. I mean,
Really?
yeah, going to church, singing in choir, singing in the congregation, but then singing in choir. And
Okay.
we had a music program at my school, and I was in that from the time I was in school until I graduated.
Gotcha.
Both choral music performance as well, and
All the stuff.
yeah, and I had a great music teacher as well in school that
I gotcha.
was very encouraging and like focused on like exercising your vocals, not just singing, and
I
like
got ya.
correct posture and all that. So she had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know what else to do after high school, man. I wasn't going to go to college immediately, so
Okay.
I went to work and got lucky and formed a band with some friends, and then carried those friends into different bands with me over the years.
So when did you like you and Derek and everybody, because you guys have been friends for a long time. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, because you grew up in Tuckerman.
Yeah.
Playing it, so.
I met everybody through Burgess Music.
Okay. Okay.
Not everybody, but he and Brent.
Okay.
And then I met Blake and Joel through a guy that I worked with in Batesville, who was their cousin.
Okay.
Who was Blake's cousin. Get that correct. And then we just linked up. We
That's
liked
so wild.
the same kind of music, and
I love that. I love how everything kind of fell together.
yeah, I've gotten very lucky over the years in that I've made acquaintances and like lifelong friends at this point with dudes that we just jive. We just get together and everything kind of works out, and then I can call on them if I have a project, and usually they'll contribute something.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Far Cry from Failure. Were there any songs that didn't make the record, or did you just?
No, we used everything.
Just used everything.
We used everything, man. We didn't record any covers, but all the originals that was literally all the music we had. So,
But what covers did you do?
we did Just Dropping a Line by 238,
Okay.
and then we we did try, and we did play a couple of times a version of "We Built This City."
Okay, I never heard it. Steven swears you guys did it.
We did it. I don't remember where we did it, but I know that it was another thing where I thought it was clever and everybody else thought it was dumb. And so they just went along with me for the ride, and they played it maybe a couple of shows, and I felt bad for them, so I didn't put it in the set list anymore.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But it had like a little breakdown at the end, screaming the tagline, the chorus.
Cause that's a long song.
Yeah. I don't know if we played the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we did a couple verses and did the chorus 3 times, maybe. But
so they tolerated it.
It was a very chugga-dugga-dugga kind of end with "We Built This City" on rock and roll, and they're like, "Nah, I don't like it."
Okay.
I think that was a result of getting into that band Recover. Remember them, Recover Music? They had an album called Rodeo and Picasso.
I can't remember.
It was very post-hardcore kind of stuff,
Yeah.
But they didn't. I'm not saying they did covers, but just that style of music. It kind of had this rock and roll attitude.
Okay.
The dude was screaming and it was aggressive.
You talking about it?
Yeah.
You talking about it?
I think they're from Texas. But yeah.
Oh, I think you talked about those guys.
Yeah.
Like back in the day.
If there's any photos of us playing right before we ended up breaking up,
yeah,
I'm wearing a Recover shirt in like 60%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now listen. So we're like, okay. So you guys started playing shows. What do you think? Like late 2001? Like far as The Last Farewell?
Yeah, probably because it had to be that either the Drip show or the one at the Collins. The one at the Collins was very early because we didn't have Blake, and I think we actually called ourselves Forlorn.
Okay,
and
that's what Steven said. That's what Steven said.
Yeah, it didn't stick at all. And I don't remember. I do remember trying to get into Memphis as soon as we got our mp3.com page up. That's how old this band is.
Yes.
And I just attached my email to it because I didn't know anything. But I started reaching out to promoters in Memphis and not really getting a lot of feedback,
Right.
But eventually one of them was like, "Hey, I've got this show coming through." I think it was Christensen was the name of the band that came through, and they played at like I don't know what it was, like a church kind of place.
Okay.
And I think we went and opened that. We had a offer to open for a new band at the time called Amberlin.
No way.
And I was like, I don't think we can make it. Something was going on.
Wow.
But after playing that one show, that promoter started bringing us in to open other shows, and then another promoter reached back out. And he's like, "Hey, I've got this bill. I think you guys would be good to open these shows or whatever." So
okay,
that's how we got to open for Norma Jean, and Every Time I Die was on that.
That's what I was trying
bill.
to think. Who was on that? Is at the map room? Is you guys, Norma Jean,
Every Time I Die, and Half Acre Gun Room. So we were supposed to open that show, and you remember that van that Joel bought, that yellow and brown church van?
Yep.
Well, he was coming in from Searcy, and we were coming in from Jonesboro. He broke down, so we had to go get him in multiple vehicles and get his drums. And so we got there late, so Half Acre opened, and then we went on, and then
it was
Every Time I Die, and then Norma Jean just destroyed the room.
Oh, man.
Funny enough, no one knew what to expect at the time. There was no video of what they looked like.
Right.
We just know that they used to be a band called Ludacris.
Yep.
And they have now changed their sound, and they did. It was crazy. Hanging from the rafters. Just killing, like slaying dragons with those guitars, dude. All over the place. It was awesome.
And I could not imagine. I'd be like, both of those bands have staples and legendary status,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I didn't make anything of it at the time because it wasn't anything.
Right.
It was just like, these are signed bands,
Yeah.
But, I didn't know who they were. And then Michael brought us in, Frontline. That was the name of his venue.
Yeah, it was.
I'm glad I remember that.
Yeah.
He brought us in to open up for Me Without You and Beloved.
Again.
Yeah. So that was, I think, and I'm probably going to get some of this wrong, but I think they had just signed with Solid State Tooth and Nail, whichever,
Mm-hmm.
and they were touring to kind of, I guess, promote themselves, but to burn through their merch that they had currently, like their CDs and stuff.
Okay.
Because they didn't have, like my copy of The Running is on a different record label.
Oh, shoot. What is the name of that one? I can't remember it right now, but like, yeah, you're right. They were on some small thing. Well, actually, I think it was bigger than like, I think the label that they were on was doing really well for a small label. I can't remember, but yeah, that's wild. So was that the only time you played it? And was that the only time you played the Frontline though?
No, we played the Frontline a few times, mostly with locals. Like we played with Inlo, those dudes from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And we played with, I can't remember Jeff's band's name, Catharsis.
Whoa.
Catharsis.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
Right. And some bands from Memphis would come in. A band called Hold Me Yesterday.
I don't know that one.
I can't remember. Their singer was in a few different bands. And actually, the last version of that singer's band played a reunion show with us over at the mini storage when you were running Commonwealth over there.
Okay.
But I can't remember the name of the band now.
Shoot, man, they all run together. Like, did Ben Haig have a band called like 5 Star Harbor or something? What's the name of that band?
I don't know if Ben was in that band or not, but 5 Star Harbor that's what Moby Spacer turned into. It was Drew Walls and Clabe. I think Gavin that works with me. He played. He played it.
Shoot.
Definitely played Moby Spacer. I think on the front end of 5 Star Harbor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Oh, and Faucet Mouth. We played quite a few shows with them.
Okay, so my dad had recently passed away, and we went to a show that you played with Faucet Mouth at the time. It was at this. I still have no clue what that venue was.
Was it in Memphis?
Yeah.
I think it was the 616.
It was humongous.
Yeah, it was. And there was no one there. So much room and so few people. Yeah, that was they may have, no, they were definitely still Faucet Mouth. I want to say, because they turned into Burn Baby Burn and kind of changed. And they kind of became a thing for a little bit. Yeah. In the Memphis scene especially.
Yeah.
And dude, so many bands that we played with in Memphis. We played with Evergreen Terrace.
That's nuts.
Who else? Burns Out Bright, that was a Stretch Armstrong show. Yeah, then Burns Out Bright came on tour with them to do that.
Did you ever get a chance to play with Stretch?
Pretty sure we played that show.
Did you play that one? That was the one?
That was the one at the Caravan.
Shoot.
No, the one at the Caravan. Not the other one, not the big one.
Okay.
Not the one we were talking about the other day with like Comeback Kid and all that.
Okay.
No,
at the Caravan.
Yeah, it was. I think it was just them and Burns Out Bright.
I bet you I bet you I missed that.
Yeah. Or maybe I was just at that show, man. I don't know.
But like, cause that's what I was trying to recollect. Like I was at that. There was I think it was a church where you guys played with Falling Cycle and Nodes Around Me.
Yeah, we did. And I think that was another thing where they had just got signed. I mean, we just got lucky, and
that's nuts.
The guy that booked those shows was cool enough to holler at us because they could have had a local band, like a Memphis band.
Who booked that one?
Bradley?
Was that Bradley's show?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Anything there, I think was Bradley.
Bradley pulled in, man, tons.
Yeah, and it was a good time for the scene over there.
Real good time.
Like everybody would pass through. The Map Room was such a unique place, being it's the basement of a coffee shop, but it was awesome. It was an awesome place to play. It was a cool little built-in like window of a stage, very low ceilings, and a lot of water piping on the ceiling going upstairs. People were hanging from it and flinging themselves around.
Yeah, it's a claustrophobic. It kind of claustrophobic's nightmare.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, not good for people that don't like tight spaces, but it was a lot of fun to play there.
the Caravan pulled in lots of. I mean, during that time, I remember like, man, Walls of Jericho came through there, and like Misery Signals, and like,
Yeah,
it's just nuts the bands because it went from the Caravan to that warehouse, down there where it was like Stretch Armstrong, 18 Visions. I could not believe what was coming through there at that time. It's just unbelievable.
yeah.
I was like, holy cow.
There was a small place over by the pyramid that somebody was booking shows at, and we saw Planes Mistaken for Stars. This is before we were playing over there.
Yeah.
But I went with Jimmy and maybe Justin and Jeremy both went. But Planes Mistaken for Stars and My Chemical Romance.
What?
Yeah, way before the Three Cheers stuff.
Well, we went to a show. That might have been Precious Cargo.
I think it is.
Okay, and like that was because who I knew him as like Chris from Syracuse. I guess Abe said he called him Memphis Chris or whatever.
Yeah.
But he did a show, and it was only 5 of us there. I remember we got there, and he's like, I think there was another show going on across town. I think maybe something that Bradley had put on or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like, and it was like Bludgeon, and This Runs Through, and like the Judas Cradle.
Wow.
And there was only like 5 of us there. And it was just us from Jonesboro. Like we were the only ones there. And so I was kind of like, so that might have been the spot.
Yeah. I just remember it was kind of under the overpass over in the area where the pyramid sits.
Yeah, it was near Ramsey's, right?
It was near what you young people call the Bass Pro Shop.
That's so true, man. But I was like, okay, so man, there's like this amazing like grocery list of bands that are still like legendary status. They got now playing these shows. Did you like have any were there any conversations with any of the bands that you kind of remember that kind of stick out?
Man, the one that sticks out, we talked to every band that we played with, but the 2 that stand out the most, the drummer from Beloved, when we played at Little Rock with them, they're number one, they're in a van, they're pulling a trailer, they don't have access to showers, right? So the way to do that on tour is you go to the bathroom and you use the sink when no one's around, and you gotta catch your pits and your neck and just try to be as clean as possible in that situation. So I go into the restroom and Homeboy's in there and he's got a cutout shirt,
Yeah.
and he's just splashing water all over. And I'm like, all right, this is how it really happens. And this was.
I thought he was just saying you start raving naked in the bathroom. It's like showering himself,
dumping water over his head. But it was after our performance, and it might have been. They closed that show, so it was definitely before Me Without You went on.
Okay.
And when I went in there, he was like, "Hey man, whatever that This World to the next one is, or whatever." He's like, keep doing that. Just do that." He was like, "That's where it's at.
Just do that."
Yeah, and I was like, "Thanks, man. It's a huge compliment." And then Jimmy from Haste the Day, who's the nicest, and we played with them twice.
He's such a good dude.
Yeah, he was a really good guy. We played with them at Juanita's in Little Rock and the Map Room the next night in Memphis.
Oh, wow.
And at Little Rock, I went so hard. There's a door right by the stage at Juanita's, right?
Okay.
Right by the stage.
Okay.
To the sidewalk, to outdoors.
Okay.
Soon as we finish, the band's still playing. We close with No Knowledge, and I went so hard, I made myself throw up. And I had to, whatever the last word was, I said, and just dropped the mic and went out that side door and lost it. And Jimmy was out there, and he's like, "You all right, buddy?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be fine." He's like, "You sure? You just get some water or something?" I was like, "No, I'm totally fine." And so that was a cool interaction with him. And then the next night in Memphis, when I got there, he said something about, he's like, look at this handsome dude coming through, man. Like, who is this guy? He must be in a band, and stuff like. He was just cutting up,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was like, cut it out, dude. He's like, are you going to throw up tonight? I was like, I hope not. But yeah, he was super cool, man. They were all really cool. There's other bands. We played with this band. Was it Not Waving but Drowning? Yeah, Not Waving but Drowning. At Vino's.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they were super cool. The vocalist was pretty funny, dude.
Wow.
And Koufax. I don't know if you remember that band, Koufax.
No.
Yeah, played with them a little bit.
Wow.
But yeah, man, we only played out for like a year and a half, and just all these bands were coming around and getting signed.
And now here, here's like Furnace Fest, like every band you've mentioned.
Yeah.
It's like
people are they're flying in from out of the country to see these bands play.
Yeah. And I think that is just a huge, like, man, that's just like a tremendous blessing. Look back and like, holy cow, man.
It's hard to appreciate it when you're in it, though. Because it's just like, well, these are up-and-coming bands. They're just like a couple of steps ahead of where we're at. It's just like,
yeah.
And not to be arrogant, but I don't know who they are yet. Right. And then when they come through, just like, I don't know how many times Stretch Armstrong played Memphis. Like, they were constantly coming through, and it was awesome.
Right.
But then to see them like just level up and level up and level up, it's pretty awesome.
And Haze Today, I mean, I don't know who started the conversation or the rumor. You know how you hear things back in the day, it's not, you can't really go back to the source like you can nowadays, but everybody was like, yeah, man, Memphis is like Haze Today's favorite place to play.
It's crazy.
I was like, I don't know if they said that or whatever, but Memphis sure kind of returned the love right back to them,
Yeah, I mean, those shows that we played at the Caravan, and the ones we played at the Catholic Church, I mean, that kind of got us a foot in the door to be able to do anything over there. Wow. And just meeting like the scene kids of the time, they were all like super cool, and I mean, most of them were playing in their own respective bands too, so we get to play on bills with them. While I Sleep, I Hope, that was the other band.
Oh,
remember that? Yeah.
So I think Matt from Nights Like These played in that band.
Really?
Yeah. I think that's whoa. Maybe. Let's just add a maybe, because he played in one of those bands. I thought I could have swore like that was one of the bands that he played in before, or something. But anyway, but yeah, man, they produced like, it was kind of like too. I felt like they were kind of like I think Memphis was really, really receptive of you guys, because really, I mean, Jonesboro didn't have a whole lot of bands from this area kind of going that way, kind of going outside Jonesboro. I mean, you guys were like, Memphis quite a bit, and Little Rock, and then you had that connection with dude from Enloe,
Joel.
And Joel ended up going out to Tulsa.
Yeah.
So that was like.
And then we went to we played Puxico, Missouri. Is that right? We played Puxico, Missouri at some little fest thing that they were putting on there. That was more than likely through Derek, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, more than likely.
I ended up busting my tooth out with the mic that night. Yeah.
Really?
And then finishing the set just bleeding.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, I chipped off half my front tooth. Man.
So anybody who's ever seen you, like seen this band, like one thing, not only the music that people walk away from, but like the stage presence was like ferocious. Like it was like, you talk about, Norma Jean like slaying dragons. I mean, you guys were slaying dragons yourself.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was intense,
it's
man.
Just an emotional,
very intense.
It's an emotional response,
Yeah.
Of it. I dance around a lot, anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know where that came from, man.
I don't know. But it was definitely, I knew it was definitely genuine and authentic, but it was just so wonderful it was perfect for that time, because that's kind of what was kind of going on
Yeah.
Everybody was just kind of like throwing a guitar. It's like, you've seen Dillinger.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, always like, I'm so impressed with like guys who can like, it's like I watch Norma Jean. I go, I know they're not hitting every note. I
Right.
get that. I feel like one time when I saw Dillinger at Vino's, I feel like he was slaying. I mean, he was hitting every note.
Oh yeah. I mean, we saw them. We didn't see them at the Daisy. We saw them at a place called the Riot, maybe.
Okay.
But it was a bigger. No, it was something Palace.
I can't remember.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
it was them and Mastodon, and Few Left Standing played
Wow.
that show. Yeah.
Wow.
And it seems like there was another band. But I'm not going to remember who it is. But yeah, we were side stage, and Ben he climbed on top of a full stack and jumped off onto the stage, and I don't hear a missed note. I didn't hear anything out of key.
How?
I don't know. He's jumping into the crowd and just like like how do you keep your fingers where they're supposed to be and do that?
Right.
But we were, I mean, obviously heavily influenced by that kind of visual aesthetic, that kind of stage performance. Same thing with Hope's Fall. I heard Steven say it on the first pod. I was profoundly affected by watching that footage from Furnace Fest.
Yeah.
Vocally, I mean, and then visually, bass players doing backflips off the monitor.
Like
What are you talking about?
What?
From Hope's
Yeah,
Fall.
I know. I know. It's crazy.
But that musical dynamic to where it's just like crushing, and then it gets melodic and it gallops, and then it gets very pretty and like ethereal and
yeah.
So that had a huge impact on the way that I was writing too. And Poison the Well, they were a big influence.
That's so great. And I think that's one of those bands too you're talking about earlier. Like you expect the band to kind of like stick to that.
Mm-hmm.
Then they went from like the Hope's Fall EP to which it wasn't a great
Satellite Years.
Yeah, Satellite Years wasn't a great contrast, but it was like, I mean, I don't know. It was like I was kind of stoked they kind of got onto Trustkill. That was kind of a good thing.
The production value, moving, was a lot better, obviously, because they went from Take Hold to Trustkill, and
for sure
had different producers, obviously, but I don't know, man. That No Wings to Speak Of is still just the one for me.
Do you have favorite records that maybe the production's not like if they were to clean up the production like you were told it, is ruin it for you?
Ooh, that's a good question. If they would clean up the production, yeah, absolutely, I do.
Because I feel like I say that because like I've heard like I don't forget who I was talking to last time about it, but there's like a Haste a Day song. And I remember hearing the Haste. I still can't remember where the bands, but also try to get your perspective. I don't know if it's a demo or whatever. And then they go into the studio. Obviously, the production is better.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh.
So I don't forget, there's a band called Old Time Religion, and there's an album called Witchcraft Rebellion that they put out. I think they're from Washington, maybe.
Okay.
But it's a pretty obscure record.
Okay.
And I think it's on K Records. So, the recording definitely suits the music, and if it were like done with a top-notch producer and a really expensive studio, it just wouldn't feel the same.
It wouldn't feel the same.
It'd feel awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's not very many that if I really thought about I definitely could come up with some.
Yeah. I mean, I think about Regulate the Chemicals. I think that's like one. I think if they were kind of like to, I don't know, man. It just like it hits you that that way, and if you hear it a different way, it's just like I'm almost don't recognize the song to me or whatever.
I would say Matter has a breaking point.
Okay.
The EP before Regulate the Chemicals.
Okay.
If that were recorded all polished and
cleaned up.
Yeah, I don't want that.
I kind of lean toward like always talk to the kids. I'm always like, I don't like I gotta have like some like I don't know. There's got to be. It can't be. I don't know. There's kind of beauty and kind of imperfection type things. Like especially with music or movies or whatever, there's some things like it just wouldn't be the same if it was like totally perfect and polished. You kind of have to have uh, a little bit of like some flaw here and there. I don't know.
I think it makes it more relatable.
Yeah.
It makes it more real,
Yeah.
and you can kind of connect with it a little bit more. I love me a super polished record too, but just like
Well,
within
yeah.
certain genres and certain styles of music. But then there's
That's
certain
it.
stuff that I think the delivery kind of gets impeded when you try to clean it up too much.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I don't want to hear a roughly recorded pop song. I
Well,
definitely want that to be
clean. Yeah.
nice and compressed and polished and all that.
That's where it kind of started with you. Yeah. I mean, like, far as like, with like you say, it started with like punk rock and Green Day.
Yeah, definitely. And it was. I think the punk rock introduction was definitely one of my cousins. Well, I know exactly which cousin it was out in California, leaving me a dubbed copy of the Dead Milkmen's Bucky Fellini,
Okay.
and I was like, "This is wild."
Could you tell me that story? Like, we went to go see Nothing. I think it was on the way back from seeing Nothing. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, tell me, like, he made you like this. Was it a mixtape?
She
Or
left
she
me.
made you a mixtape?
She so they came in for a family reunion and they stayed at my folks' house,
Okay.
and she just brought this lot of cassettes, like in a little like a cassette carrier, that
Sure.
you zip up, with maybe a dozen that she had just dubbed. So if she lost them or whatever, she had the original ones at home,
Okay.
and she just let me go through it and listen to it, and it was music. I was maybe 10 or 11.
Wow.
Music I'd never heard of. I didn't even know this music existed, and this music that was so wild to me was like the Smiths and the Violent Femmes and
Wow.
Public Image Limited, and the Dead Milkmen obviously was one of those too. So she knew that I liked it because I kept listening to it over and over. So she just left it with me because she had the original at home.
That's unreal.
Yeah, and then we went out to see them maybe a year or two later, and I ended up coming back with some more like that Violent Femmes self-titled dub. What else? Oh, her boyfriend at the time he's like a skater dude.
Yeah.
And he told me about LA's Wasted Youth and Suicidal Tendencies and Youth of Today and all of that. This is out in California.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't really have any access to that music unless they were sending it to me.
Were you 13, 11, 13?
Yeah, I was probably 11 or 12 at the time. But
You imagine Eleanor, like, I'm looking at Steph, but imagine, like, Eleanor just like, well, she discovered the Ramones.
okay,
And so she loves the Ramones, and she likes, I hate podcasts for one reason, because, like, it totally just, like, your memory goes bye-bye.
yeah,
But, what's For My Family, For My Friends, what band is that? I mean, I've totally seen them. Well, anyway, yeah, Agnostic Front.
there you go.
Yeah, loves that.
So it's funny you said that because I was trying to figure out like my first interaction or visual or audio with hardcore,
Okay.
and it was definitely Cro-Mags and Agnostic Front, and it was definitely on Headbangers Ball.
Yeah.
And I forget the name of the song, but when that Agnostic Front video come on, it was just live footage of them playing, probably at CBGB's.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And
Yeah.
I remember thinking, like, this isn't metal. Like, what is this? I don't even know what to call this.
I'm so glad you said that, because you're kind of like try to put a finger on, like, because that's my first impression. I go, this is not metal. Like, I had a guy that lived behind me. We lived in like these 10th grade. I lived in like these little townhouse apartments. I had a friend that lived behind me in some other apartments, and he had a friend come over he had an amp and a guitar. He started riffing like he was in a Metallica. And at that time, I said, whatever. He was just like, it was like, now that I look back, it's like these thrashy type riffs, right?
Yeah.
And this guy's got long hair, and he's like the Metallica guy. But then I go to a show in like 11th grade, and Syracuse, I hear these guys, they don't have long hair, and I hear these same riffs, but it's not metal.
Yeah.
What is this?
It's heavy.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa. Yeah, Agnostic Front. Hardcore punk band. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. They've been around since 1980. It's nuts.
I know. Yeah.
That's
And
nuts.
then, so I didn't really get into that at the time. I just thought it was interesting, and
Yeah.
um, it was a weird like juxtaposition of the sound that I was hearing and the dudes in the band. Like,
Right.
what is this? What is going? And it was a
Right.
whole cultural thing up in
It's a whole
New York.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean they had their whole hardcore punk thing in Southern California, obviously going on about the same time. But I was so young and naive that it was just music. I didn't really
Oh yeah.
differentiate between genre and all that. Just
Oh,
if I liked it, I listened to it, kind of thing. But that all kind of changed around '92 when I found out about Green Day. I was like, oh, this this sounds like home. Like I think I can do that probably. And got a guitar and started riffing out Green Day songs. And
So you guys were in a pop punk band. You guys did that type of style.
the first band I was in with Blake and Joel in Cersei was definitely more of like a grunge alternative rock kind of band.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my first band actually, and so influenced by all the grunge bands, the Pearl Jams, the
Playing grunge guitar, or you said
Soundgardens.
playing bass, right?
Yeah, playing
Playing
bass
bass, okay.
and doing vocals and that. But it was really more of a poppy grunge kind of sound. I wanted it to be a Green Day type band, but they weren't really into it. So we just compromised and did something in the middle.
Well, something I always appreciated about you was like that you really kind of weren't like I don't know how you put it. Like you were really open to like bands that hit you at the time, wherever you were, like whatever age you were in life. Later on, you kind of didn't dismiss them later, because there is a tendency. I remember growing up, we were doing a hardcore thing. A lot of people would kind of like kick bands to the curb that weren't like quote unquote cool or whatever.
That weren't scene bands.
Or were scene bands or whatever, and that was awesome. And I was reminded of that on our journey to the show when you guys were kind of discussing like 3 Days Grace, and things like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that you still can like appreciate like the musicality of bands. It's what I'm saying, and like I think that's important, kind of being genuine, authentic to who you are and to what you enjoy.
Yeah.
During the time, because because we were kind of discussing like why nu metal is like the most popular genre on earth, and people still kind of fall back to those things, and everybody, whether they say it or not, do like nu metal in one shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah, I mean, there are obviously people that just don't like it, but
I
think more people were like trying to front like they didn't like it 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Yeah. That, or maybe they just didn't get the irony in some of those bands. Some of those bands took themselves very seriously.
Sure.
And then some of them, we found out later that they just were kind of goofing. They were writing like bouncy, funky metal and being goofy, and I'm going to see that band next month, man. I think Limp Bizkit has been trolling their whole career.
I think it's bands that really didn't take themselves, and I think that's the other thing that I wanted to say about you, that you didn't, you don't take, it's important. I think it's important advice not to take ourselves too seriously.
No, man.
That is just music, and that new Limp Bizkit came out, and I was all about it.
Oh, me too.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I think the possibility of like a scene kid being able to say that they like a nu metal band or whatever, I think that started around the mid 2000s.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I saw a lot of Slipknot shirts at hardcore shows, and now I mean there are nu metal bands.
Yeah.
20 years later,
yeah.
And Slayer. I mean, all the hardcore kids love Slayer. Yeah. They had the breakdowns. Pantera. I mean, it was starting to happen then.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Like, especially like getting a little bit older.
Which that kind of brought me to like where I talk about pop punk and kind of two things. So like it's obvious like nu metal's like making a comeback or whatever.
Right.
So I kind of got introduced to a few bands on the way back from
from
the show.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, just like you know, you look through Spotify, and I was looking at some of the bands like you guys were, and of course, you know, genres. You know, they kind of like have like this new metal or new beatdown or I don't know even know what the so.
Yeah, you got to be real careful calling a new band new metal.
Yeah. So
like,
I'm like,
they are definitely down with it, but they don't want you to call them that. You know,
mercy.
you got to be some like New Death,
New Death,
or New Deathcore. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. So do you have like any like? Are you listening to any of that? Do you have any opinions about like what's going on with all that?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, I bounce around a lot, and I don't really like listen to albums that much anymore unless it's something that I'm familiar with already, like a band's putting out a new record or something like that.
I gotcha.
I'll catch singles and stuff, but like that Fox Lake band that I played on the way back that had Venom Benzo doing his those cuts and stuff on it.
Yeah.
Any band that's going to have like a traditional turntablist style DJ do some like cuts and scratches, I'm going to give that a go. We're going to give that a listen.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm 100% into that. I've always, you know, aside from like doing vocals and playing guitar and stuff in bands, I've always wanted to be in like a heavy band and scratch.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to use my turntables in a metal band.
That's great.
But you know, I'm not going to do it now. It would have been cool like 15 years ago.
But I totally appreciate that though. It was really cool when I saw Vane and I noticed they had a DJ and I didn't know they had a DJ and I go, coming from like that background of hip hop and everything else. I mean, I love the whole turntable, like the DMC World Championships. I kind of geek out.
That's what got me into it, man. Like '97.
Yeah.
Watching Invisible Scratch Pickles and the X-Men, you know, go back and forth.
So good.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I remember like DJ Craze is like doing like these like drum and bass things, and I'm like, I adore it, absolutely adore it. I was like looking for it everywhere. I would try to find these obscure like CDs of guys just doing break beats and just, you know, the scratches and all the turntable. You know, I mean, I started. I mean, I wanted to do that, but man, it's a.
You have a setup now, don't you?
I don't have two turntables. I got
one.
I got one turntable and I got a machine, so I can do beats and
there
stuff.
You go.
Yeah, that's all I need. Yeah. So but I adore that. Like I found this one guy from like Central America. I don't know where he's from, but like, oh man, I forget his name. I'll put him up in the playlist. But he do all like these. He'll sample like these old like these 60s and 70s artists from like Central America and just like do like hip hop vocal samples over it. It's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I love it.
Just like with hardcore and the underground music in general, stuff's always going on.
It's always going on.
You know, you may not, maybe you don't have a channel to get into it like right in front of you, but it's always going on, man.
And that's always been, that's especially in the past 2 months, that's really just impressed me. I've known hip hop is sampled like the entire time, but knowing like some of the stuff like finding like the original tracks, what they like I'll go listen to like Dilated Peoples and I'm like,
oh dude, I've got a website for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've got you.
But like, yeah, so like just a Fox Lake, I was impressed. I like those guys.
Fox Lake, good stuff. Mostly like new metal influenced hardcore kind of stuff, like Vane.
Yeah.
Like what was it other band that we were talking about?
I got some down here. You show me like Snuffed on Sight.
Yeah, they're more of like a grind kind of band. It's, you know.
Who else was it?
Was it Ocean Grove?
Ocean Grove.
Yeah. Vended is not too bad. I like some of that stuff. Okay.
Abe was talking about this band called No Face, No Case.
Yeah, No Face, No Case, dude. Yeah, I don't know their story. But here's the thing, man. If you haven't listened to them yet, don't. You go watch a video. Watch a video on YouTube.
Okay.
That's how you have to experience them for the first time.
Okay.
We're going to do that immediately after we get off this pod.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Well, somebody they collabed with is going to be a Banging in the Rock Fest. That Peeling Flesh.
Yeah.
That's nuts, dude.
I know.
It's like this, that
lineup is incredible.
It looks so good.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to see a conservative military image forever.
Yeah.
So it's $115, man.
For 2 days.
Is it 2 days?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, MS Paint is so good.
Right. Yeah.
I love MS Paint. I could go, man. Boy, that's September. You. Yeah. So, okay, yeah, No Face, No Case, Salt Wound, Spite. Okay, so I don't know. I've never heard this band, but I thought this is the hardest. Now, when you hear this, I think this is the hardest band name ever. But you might shut it down. I think it's totally hard. They're called Angel Maker.
Angel Maker?
Yeah. I only assume.
Okay.
What I kind of like where they're going with that.
I got you.
That's tough, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, I haven't heard any of these bands, but I just kind of like add them to a playlist to listen to later. But it's like stuff on site. Yeah. Anyway, so like, yeah.
So Spite's going to be in Little Rock pretty soon with Throne.
Now, why do I think Spite is a hardcore band?
Because they kind of are.
No, who am I thinking of then? I'm thinking of somebody else.
Strife? Are you thinking about Strife?
No. Somebody else. I don't know. So Spite is kind of like in the same vein of kind of what we're talking about now.
No, they're more of a hardcore band than anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I could have swore they were.
Yeah, they are.
I could have swore they were. And I was like, so yeah, they're going to be they're going to be there too. Okay. No, I'm thinking of somebody else. It's not Spite. Yeah, I'm thinking of somebody else. I don't know who I'm trying to think of. So one last question. What do you think about the current like hardcore climate? Like, as far as where hardcore music is at, with all the we kind of talked about recently with all the like, it seemed like everybody's kind of pulling like influences from wherever they want and kind of just throwing it into the blender.
I think it's the same as it ever was, man. I think, there's more contemporary genres that younger bands can pull from.
Yeah.
But everything that happened back in the 80s was being pulled from something else too.
Very
and
true.
it's always the same
Very true.
thing, right? I just think that there are more creative ways of collaborating and pushing those different genres together. There's more creative methods of engineering and recording.
Sure.
We can actually get high fidelity recordings of these kind of outlier genres and bands.
Sure.
But I think it's better than it's ever been, man. Like,
I agree.
It's advanced and progressed so much over the last like 30 years or so.
Yeah.
That it's in a great place right now. And just when we're talking about like scenesters and like hardcore kids admitting now that, I do like Slipknot or I do like, Korn or whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
I think that just makes the scene better. It just,
Yeah.
It allows you to be a little bit more creative and step outside of your comfort zone and incorporate some of the elements of those bands that you used to have to kind of listen to in secret. Or you'd say something like, "Oh, it's my guilty pleasure," but you really like that band. You just don't want to admit that you like that band.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't matter. That's why we see awesome bills like we saw the other night in Little Rock, where you got Angel Dust right after End It and right before Terror.
Right.
And it's all in the same vein. It's all the same kind of scene, or the same kind of, I don't know, man, collective of bands.
Yeah.
But very different stylistically.
Yeah, because I always talk about how I really love I always like diverse bills.
Yeah, me too.
And here it is, just a hardcore show, and they're all diverse.
Right.
And not one band sounded like the other band.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So
and I appreciate Angel Dust after seeing them, because before I truly listened to them, I really honestly tried to give them a good listen, and they have changed their sound a couple times or whatever, and I'm like, man, so. Anyway, so I think I'm going to kind of try to go back and go, because there's a lot of times where I've actually after seeing a band first, and I go and actually go listen to their record, I always have that visual and always that experience in my mind, like from when I heard them or saw them. You know what I'm saying?
I've seen bands and listened to the recordings, and it's completely different. And I loved the way they performed, but I didn't really get down with the recording.
How about that bass player for Angel Dust?
How about that dude?
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, he was dancing it up more than the kids in the pit, right?
I know.
Kicking everywhere.
I was like, effortlessly.
Yeah, he was getting it, dude. It was awesome.
He really influenced me to go back to the gym for
I think Abe said that he's a personal trainer.
He sure looks like one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most definitely. But yeah, I mean, to wrap up that question, it's better than it's ever been, man. Like,
I firmly agree.
We have so many methods of getting our hands on music and being able to listen to everything immediately. Like, you remember having to wait on records to come out?
I know.
And kind of let the label dictate what was going to be good by what they released.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like that to some degree. It made everything mean a little bit more. But I think I also latched onto some stuff that just wasn't that good because it's all I had.
Right.
But now there's just so many mediums. There's so many ways of obtaining new music and consuming new music that, of course, you're going to get a lot of bad with the good, but you're going to get a lot more good than you did 20 years ago.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I agree with that. All right. We're going to go into the next portion of the pod that we like to call 5 on the Fly. Basically, it's just 5 songs that that we've been listening to recently that we think we want to share with you, and they're pretty important to us. So get out your paper, get out your pencil and paper, and get ready to jot down the coolest tracks ever. Mine is going to be pretty. People are not going to think they're cool at all because it's honestly what I've been listening to lately, and I don't even know why, and I really don't know. But it is what it is, and this is what I've been listening to recently. So let me. I'm going to cheat because I cannot remember them like off the top of my head. I know it's called 5 on the Fly, and I'm supposed to be like all spontaneous and whatever, but I'm just.
Who can remember 5 new songs that you listen to?
I can't. Okay, so the first song, my number 5. What I'm going to start with is a band. Man, this is an Australian rock band called Split System. I've latched onto them like from the first time I heard them. Which was maybe last year or year before. They just continue to put out music. The last record, man, they had an amazing record last year that people really, really were impressed with, and they just dropped a new single called Force Field. It's only a minute and a half long. We had it at the intro. You've already heard it. But Australian rockers, I don't know. I call it hardcore adjacent. It's really not. It's just really good. It kind of sounds like you're better at this, I think, Darrell, than me. But they kind of sound like, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they kind of sound like, oh man, not like the Strokes, but definitely better than the Strokes. But it kind of sounds kind of garage rocky, like really good garage rock, and just kind of the production's not super super clean, but this makes people just, I don't know. I love it. So that's my number 5, Force Field, Split System. How was that for just absolutely muddy water? Okay. This stuttering away. Mercy. Go ahead, buddy. Number 5.
Oh, we're going back and forth, one for one.
Yeah. What do you think?
Okay.
You can take your time.
I'm trying to get the order down here. I'm also trying to figure out if there's like just a song that I've been listening to a lot lately. There is one, but I'm going to close with it because it goes super hard. I spent a lot of time listening to Angel Dust's latest record this week after seeing him. I hadn't listened to him in quite a while.
Okay.
And so I put their brand new soul album on. Love Slam is a great tune, so I'm going to go ahead and choose that one. It's just fun. It's refreshing. It's hard to categorize Angel Dust as a band.
I know.
Because, I mean, without getting too specific, they are a punk band. They're a punk rock band.
Yeah.
And they present as a punk rock band. So, yeah, definitely hardcore adjacent because of the dudes in the band, right?
Sure.
But it's fun. I like the upbeat tempo. It's kind of got this irky jerky kind of feel to it as well. I don't know. It's just very energetic. So, and the performance of that song was pretty incredible too. So,
I was really impressed with their performance.
We'll go with Love Slam by Angel Dust.
And he moves around for, was he 40? Maybe? Late 30s?
Maybe late 30s.
Yeah, late 30s, yeah. Yeah, Scott moved around pretty good for 51.
Bro.
Dude. Yeah, he's good, man. Okay, my number 4. All right, so lately I've been listening to a lot of old country, and it just is what it is.
That's fine.
And I don't know why. It's nothing like...
This is a safe space, Gary.
You're my friend. I really appreciate you. Thank you. And it's not like country for the sake of. There's a certain sound I'm looking for that I'm wanting to listen to. Like I'm a really big fan of like, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Like I really love that movie, and I love the music on it. I think it's because it's not super duper clean. Like the production is not super clean, and it's just raw. This is what it is. Merle Haggard, Mama Tried. I've been listening. I started listening to a podcast called Rhinestones. I think it's called Rhinestones of Cocaine.
Yeah.
And this guy did an awesome backstory on Okie from Muskogee, and like a whole hour. And I was so impressed with it. I go, I'm just going to listen to some Merle Haggard. And yeah, so Merle Haggard, Mama Tried. I mean, what can be said that hasn't been said about that dude? There it is.
Right on. All right.
Yeah.
A little country in the mix.
Yeah, country
I'm with
mix.
it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like it.
So, let's see here. What have I got? This is really on the fly because I'm literally like looking these up.
Oh yeah,
trying to figure out like what have I spent time on.
We can always.
I'm gonna do a twofer.
Go for it.
So I'm gonna do numbers 4 and 3.
Okay.
From the same band.
Perfect.
And it's a band called Throne.
Okay.
Throne is a newer hardcore band. They do have a new album out. I haven't listened to a whole lot of it except for the song Grey Out. I think it's on that record. But number 4 is going to be Grey Out by the band Throne. And number 3 is going to be Guilt by the band Throne.
Okay.
And there's not really much to say about it besides it just goes. It goes super hard. It's very, I don't know, man. It's heavy, but it's also like very rhythmic too. So it's groovy. There we go. It's groovy and it's heavy, and I like that. I like those things.
Well, Lonnie and like Jacob have like talked like in our chat has talked about that band.
Throne.
Yeah.
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 That's a sick band name, by the way, too. I can't believe that I didn't think of that like years ago.
So I'm like, I like being in the band for like one reason is like being introduced to like bands you never would have listened to otherwise, or being or even known of. And so that's one that's one like Lonnie introduced me to. Was it Lonnie? Yeah, Body Snatcher was another one. Yeah, he introduced me to. So Throne. That's 4 and 3.
That's 4 and 3.
Oh
yeah.
Shoot. Okay. So I love the song, and it's an older song too, but it's not a country song. The Husker Du song. Don't Want to Know If You Are Lonely. Love that song.
Okay.
Love that song.
Yeah.
Love that song. Real catchy. Listened to it yesterday in the car. Those dudes. A Military Gun do a cover of that song. And
really?
Yeah.
They're
yeah.
a great band too.
They are
I'm
awesome
glad you brought them up.
Yeah, they're an awesome band. Really, really good band. Really good live band. Sounds like perfect. I mean, they just sound so good. I wish they would come back close. That'd be good. It'd be awesome to see. That's number 3.
That's number 3 for you.
Yeah,
Right, so I'm on number 2.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to say the entire new Knocked Loose record, but for the sake of playing by the rules here, Don't Reach for Me is the track for me right now.
That's the one.
I'm talking about brutal musically, sonically, brutal lyrically.
Yeah.
And the delivery is incredible.
Yeah.
Their ability to change tempos multiple times in the song without losing it is pretty great, pretty incredible. This, when you think it's just about to be over, it's gotten as slow as it's going to get. It comes back for a whole other like slower portion to end it. Fantastic work. The whole record's great. Don't Reach for Me by Knocked Loose is my number 2.
Brian's mad.
Yeah.
He is mad.
They were always good, but they've found a way to get better and switch up just enough with each album.
Yeah.
And they just keep climbing, dude. It's crazy.
You would think by normal standards that Brian would be like singing, like real singing.
By now?
Yeah, be like we all kill switch engaging.
He's doing gutturals now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, it's wild. So.
Just breaking rules. I love it. And they fit on a hardcore bill, a deathcore bill, and a metal bill.
They're opening for Slipknot.
Nuts.
I think that's them that's opening for their anniversary tour of their self-titled record.
Yeah, that's gonna be massive.
Man.
Yeah, well deserved. That album is their best. That album is probably their best one so far. That EP was pretty fire too.
The first one?
Oh no, Tear in the Fabric of Life.
Oh yeah.
I think.
See, they put this out so fast.
You know they wrote 40 songs for they only chose for this record. They only chose 10. That's nuts.
That is crazy.
In that little EP they did last year, it was nuts. Anyway, okay. So number 2, listen to Joy Division this week. Love Will Tear Us Apart. I don't know. No, because I think I don't mean to sound bored. Okay, I really love all these songs, but I'm not gonna I don't have any new ones. I think I might have broke the 80s maybe with Husker Du, but well, because they're just not super. That might not be super exciting songs to everybody else. Maybe I'm just being, I don't know, maybe a little prejudgy. But anyway, I love all these songs. I truly love all these songs, but I don't have anything. I don't have enough. I was introduced to all these bands on the way down, and back and forth to see Drain.
Yeah.
So I really haven't got a chance to kind of dig into any of that yet.
Right.
I was really impressed with Grove Street, which I was like, when did I?
Yeah. I said Ocean Grove earlier. That's a totally different band. Grove Street was who I was thinking of.
Okay, Grove Street.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, so I really haven't a chance to kind of dig into a lot of those. I was really impressed with them. So, but this week, this is kind of what I've been listening to. Kind of I don't know.
It's where your head's been, dude. And that's fun.
You know what it was? Me and Stephanie started watching that show, Your Honor,
on
Netflix.
Yeah.
And the song, and that song is in the show. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm listening. So I kind of spur all this interest in watching,
Yeah.
and listening to Joy Division. Anyway, sorry, wrong one. Sorry, that's something else. Free of charge. Okay, Darrell's number 2.
I think I'm on number 1, man. I'm on number 1.
Was that my number 1?
No, that was your number 2. I did 2. I did number 4 and 3 at the same time.
Okay.
I should have just saved it, but it was
no, you're good. Man. You're
two Throne songs. My number 1 for this week is The First Test by the band Speed.
Oh, hey.
Listen, if you're into hardcore and you're into hip-hop, real hip-hop, you need to be on this Speed band because they're doing it, man. They're doing it. Came out maybe 3-4 years ago with that We See You.
Yeah.
And I love how they chant their own name. It's so hard, dude. When a band chants their own name.
Yeah, right.
They now have a flute player in their band. Yes, and it's incredible. I'm gonna make you listen to it. It's incredible. They got some subtle turntable scratches here that scratch up to them chanting their band name. It's it was Speed, dude. It's so hard.
You will love it. This is the same. Okay, so Stephanie, every once in a while, she'll do this, sound, in our house. No, not Ricka Ricka. That's her scratch. That's her scratch sound is Ricka Ricka.
Ricka
no,
Ricka.
But it's on Speed, a couple years back when they released, was it We See You?
Yeah, it's that song.
That's goes. You hear this sample goes right before the breakdown. It's wah, wah, wah.
They do 808 drops when the song kicks in.
I'm not mad about 808 drops at all.
Yeah.
That's so good.
So they're doing it. They're doing it right. The addition of the flute player is big. That's a big one.
I cannot believe it.
Yeah. So
that's what I mean. It's
the first
test.
I don't care. The first test. The song "The First Test" by the band Speed. Get into it.
Yeah.
It's my number 1.
Yeah, love it. To be honest, so my number 1 is a song I listened to this week at work probably 15 times. Is "Act Naturally" Buck Owens.
Buck Owens.
Buck Owens.
Man.
They're gonna put me in the movies.
I don't know what it is. Anyway, it's just recently. I don't know.
I wish I could have queued up that turntable scratch into the scream chant to end that with.
Oh.
I didn't know we were doing that.
All right. Well, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm stoked.
Good times.
I think there's plenty of music for people here to kind of delve into and listen to. Yeah, so listen, we have a Facebook and an Instagram. Please go follow. Please go like. Please go to Spotify. Give us 5 stars. Please follow. Do all that. And kind of get involved with the conversation. Get in the comments and everything. We do have an email. You can also correspond that way too. But next week, we do have Adam Hustler coming on the podcast. So make sure to join us with that one. that note, Darrell, I love you. I'm so thankful that we got to do this and this hang out, and it was really great that we got to hang out beforehand on Thursday and go to see, go see Drain and everybody. So
Yeah.
from the bottom of my heart, I love you. I think you're an amazing person, musician, all the things. Great dad, great human being, and I just can't thank you enough.
Thank you. I love you back. And for anybody that doesn't know, Gary is basically the godfather of the hardcore scene in Northeast Arkansas. He doesn't like to talk about that very often, but he's the dude that made all the shows happen back in the day. He's the dude that got all the bands on bills and stuff. So thank you for all of that, and thank you for the continued friendship over the last 2 decades.
Can't believe it.
It's crazy, man.
Crazy.
Anyway, thanks again.
Hey, man, you're welcome. With all that, there's a thing I got to do. I'll see you next week.
Hurt your feelings, you don't want to work with me anymore. Okay.